What is up, YouTube? Back from Tennessee. So it's shop time over here. Finally getting the Honda dug out. T-bars, bagger, FXR life. Customer bike just came in. And Sporty's over in the corner. And the Evo Sporty is gonna go on the lift for a little motor removal. Here's the Honda in all of its raw form. It's all there, just in boxes that need to go back on. Closer look at the FXR, Evo, T-bars, fairing, hard bags. Just doing a little bit of carb work on this one for a buddy of mine. Old timer, but can't keep working on them, so that's here. Iron head chopper went away, and Evo is gonna take its place on a lift. We're just gonna yank the motor out of this, and then this motor is gonna come back to the house with me. Because she's not happy. Got her up on the lift. Well, let's see how fast we can take a sporty motor apart. Or out. Now it's time to start ripping things apart. I was hoping to get rolling on the sporty today. Got tied up with other work stuff. This is not coming out today, but at least everything's set up. So tomorrow we will jam this thing apart, pop all the oil lines off, break everything free, pull the tank, and start pulling all the parts out, and hopefully get this Evo motor out. And then I'll bring the truck tomorrow. This will go in the bed of the truck. Gotta love air compressors. Go in the bed of the truck. This will come home and go up on the front corner of my lift at the house. And the AOD trans for the Falcon is also going up there tomorrow. So, on pause. Well, it is the next day, back at the Evo Sporty, early before we actually start working on shop stuff, so I'm gonna figure out where to put you guys and start ripping this bike apart. I'm not sure how much fun that's gonna be, or see kind of what comes up, so I'll probably throw you guys up. I'm kind of in cramped quarters here. Got a stairway here, not much room on this side, good amount of room on this side if I move some of these storage boxes, but let's get to taking parts off of this thing. It's not really required, but whenever I'm doing this is a freshly painted and coated tank, so I want to yank the tank off just to give myself way more room. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get to everything without doing that, so start with the fuel lines, drain whatever residual is in here. Fuel valve on this is working, so pop the fuel line off, then we're going to yank or make sure the petcock's off, pop the fuel line off, drain whatever's in here, pull the little Allen bolts we got in the tank here, get those out, give ourselves some room. Make a big old gassy mess on the bench. I like running these little stainless ones. I think they're nice, clean stainless setup. Look a little bit better than the actual big bulky bolts. This tank looks filthy, but it is all super fresh. Just needs a good dusting off from sitting up here. The shop gets so dirty, that's why I hate working on stuff up here. And why this motor is coming back to my house, because this is not the best environment for, you know what? This filter is not going to clear with the carb on. We'll split that down here. And we'll be able to get this glass fuel filter through the cylinders. Which way? No, we'll pull it off on the tank. Guilt trip. Just separate this right at the tank here. So, tank's free. Get the fuel line down this way. Much more room. So whenever I'm doing a teardown like this, I usually just try and grab one storage box, which will be this one. I just gotta pull these forks and shovel head, sprocket, and generator off. So let me empty that box real quick, then I'll start throwing some parts in there. Figured I wanted to time how long this is actually going to take. 7:49 minus the tank. That was 3.5, 4 minutes. So that puts us at 7:45 start time. So box is empty, which means anything that comes off, I hate this compressor, anything that comes off will go right in there. So got one spot for everything that I take off of this bike, which is fine. I'll get rolling on the exhaust stuff here. I've wrestled these motors out by myself. It's not fun. So our goal is to get this prepped and ready to take apart. By the time Justice gets back up here, this is his bike, so I'll make him lift it out and do the heavy leg work. Alright, so I got the throttle cable loose. I'll rip off this carb real quick. So on the carb goes, this is an early one, so it is still a bottom breather. So it doesn't have the little vented heads like the later Model 1s do. Go, separate the throttle cable. Put the carb upside down, we'll drain some of the gas out of there. Now we're onto the intake. So we'll get the throttle cable out of the way, loop this up front into the forks. And let's yank the coil. So on the coil, we got electronic ignition down here. It's kind of like a Dyna S factory style. Where is this? Yeah, this got a Dyna S in here. So you got the two leads up to the coil. You got your red and pink and white, I think, on the later stuff. Not too bad here. So we'll separate this. Yank the coil out of the way. We never completely finished this bike, so a lot of this stuff is gonna get reworked at some point. Like the wiring's all done and laid out, it's just not finalized. So whatever I can do to kind of shortcut this in terms of taking things apart, that would be the best. That wires can go in the box. I don't usually use crescent wrenches for this, but these aren't on here that tight, so it's all about speed right now because I'm impatient. Separating the coil wires. disc oil. Probably should have done a quick startup on this so you guys could hear the clickety-clackety rattle. But then it's going to be hot and I don't really want to deal with this while it's warm. Trust me, this motor is very unhappy. Something's not pleased on the internals. I don't know if it's a piston slap or I was having some oil issues on this motor when we fired it up. Again, has a fresh top end. This is an S&S 1200 conversion, but I didn't do that, nor did I do the bottom end. And this bike never ran prior to us firing it up. So it was like a fresh rebuild, if you will. And I think that's part of the issue. We took somebody's word for, oh, it ran great, but not so much. Let me get onto the exhaust. See which ones I can get to. Not the biggest fan of the sporty stuff. Let me grab a bolt tray too. Okay, one bolt is nice and easily accessible on these sporties for the exhaust. The second one's not that hard to get to. I like to come around to the back side here. And of course it's a nylock, so I might actually throw these in a baggie too. No, I'll just put them back on the motor. I can stay on the head. That'll be fine too. I already got the lower mount off, but there's the pipe. Make sure to put these back on. They are fine thread and I like to keep the hardware with them when I can. And we get the crappy part now on this side. The lower brake stuff, everything is connected, which makes it a little more difficult to get everything apart. Not too terrible, but just enough. Should be inconvenience. So we'll keep going on the pipe for now. These Evos, they really, well, the late, not just the Evos, I guess, this late iron heads too, they just jam so much stuff onto the sprocket cover. So you got your master cylinder, you got your foot peg mount, your bracket for the master, and the exhaust all in one spot, which, you know, it works. It's just a lot of clutter down here. It's clean in the grander scheme, but now I run into the issue of the exhaust being in the way, so I'll come back to the front and try and loosen up the front head bolt. Swivel sockets on these definitely help quite a bit. A little faster than a regular wrench. Alright, now that that's free, we got a lot more room. Let me get this collar off. Throw the nut back on. And then we're about off to the races in terms of getting crap off of here. I'm going to leave the sprocket cover together. Let the pipe down. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So like I said, there's a ton of crap kind of jammed down to here. You got your sprocket cover, your foot peg, and the bolt, all of which like to get in the way of each other. So I'm going to try and see if I have enough room to do this without separating the pin. If not, I'm going to leave this entire, as of right now, it kind of looks like this is all going to stay together because this is a shouldered bolt and I don't have room unless I pull the pin on the brake arm to adjust that. Ooh, that was a little loose. To adjust this. in order to pull this bolt all the way out. Kind of hangs up. So the exhaust and the brake stuff can all stay. There's one giant mess for now, I think. Just for now. I'm going to take that off here in a minute. Let me separate some stuff and get this thing apart. When we put this together, I just used a cheapo cotter pin on the back side of this, so it's not that difficult to yank out. So I'm just going to pull the pin out of here. Could grab a little hammer. That'd be helpful too. Once you get this roll pin out, it'll break the pedal free from the linkage like that. And now I have all the room in the world to separate this, just like that. One extra step, but now the pipe's free. Right there. I'm leaving all that together because I don't want to separate the brakes and have to re-bleed them later on. It's not that big of a deal, it's just one less step when the whole motor is going to stay, or the frame is all going to stay together. As long as that cover and all those brackets stay together, you're not going to lose any brake pressure. So that is just about it on this side, other than the oil line, so we'll come back for that. Let me throw this thing on a charger. And we are now at 8:07. Out of the oil lines, I'm going to drain this. This is going to make a big old mess. So now we're just going to go ahead and pull some of these oil lines off, whatever I can get to. I don't quite remember how I got all of these in, to be completely honest. This one looks pretty turned. We'll start here. I honestly have no idea how this hose clamp got put on here, or what shifted, because I do not have any room here. The hose clamp from hell. Knew the battery was going to die. I was hoping to get a little bit farther. I did not. So here's where we're at. Fought the hose clamp from hell that somehow rotated itself, so we're free now. And this is where we're going to see, hopefully, lots of metal. I don't want to, but based on how loud this thing was, definitely is not the cleanest. It is a supposedly fresh first fire motor. I don't know how well this is going to show up for you guys. Maybe some light on here. We're just going to let this go. Not going to film all of this. I'll come back once we get it a little bit better. Trying to see. Let's see what we got for lighting over here. Don't mind there's mixed old oil in here too, but this river from the stream down is kind of what we're looking at. Well, we'll let this pour out and then sift the top, take a closer look when it's done. I don't know if you guys are going to catch this at the same angle that I am, but there's definitely, right where that's hitting, you can see this little river of metal shavings coming out. She's not happy. Let's see, right where that's hitting, you get this little wave kind of pouring down. We get home. When this is back at the house, we'll do the full diag. That's why this motor's coming out, so we can go through and see what got destroyed or what didn't work. Came in early today, trying to beat customers coming in and out. And I got people stopping in and bugging me already. We're not even open for another 2 hours. It is now, just for a time reference, 8:37. And I just spent the last 20-25 minutes talking to a neighbor across the way from the shop that's been gone. He's got some work for us that I got to pick up from him and settle up on some other stuff. Dropped off some new stuff, and then random customer just saw the door was open and came in. So lost about 20 minutes there, but oil's still slowly draining. Got the vent off on here. I still got to fish this out of the starter when we pull that off. But we are just about ready to move on to the other side, outside of the motor mounts and things like that. Then I got to do a video conference call with the accountant, get yelled at, and then we'll be back. Alright, while we're still on this side of the bike, we're going to pop the chain off. I think, oh crap. I forgot we riveted this one. That's inconvenient. I didn't have a master, but it came with the press fit, so I press fit this one. So that's cool. Let's see if I get my chain breaker up here or not. It's horribly inconvenient. I hate these things. Alright, the chain is free. We got some starter stuff. Pull the starter. Battery's already disconnected, so don't go freaking out. Biggest issue now is just going to be fighting these oil lines out from underneath the starter. But oil's drained. On this side, oil lines are disconnected. Then we'll have to figure out the ignition situation here. I don't know how I want to separate that one yet. I think I put a quick connect in somewhere on the other side. It's been so long since I've worked on this bike. But let's take a look-see. Come up here. Where's my blue and whites? Oh, it's like I planned ahead. Here's my ignition lead for one, ignition lead for the other. So that will stay with the motor. I can leave the whole ignition in for now. It's not that big of a deal to take it out, but whatever I can keep together is just going to save a little bit more time. So that'll stay there. And then as for the oil lines, I don't know, I might actually keep them connected. So that's most of that. Now we're on to the upper motor mount and the ignition stuff. This will stay on the frame. And we'll try and wrestle this thing out. Like I said, with the oil lines, they run underneath the starter and it's really tight in there. So I don't want to pull the whole primary, I want to yank the whole motor out together. So if need be, I'll separate the oil lines from the tank and pull all the hoses off with the motor. Might make a little bit of a mess, but that's fine. One here, these two will go right back on the motor so I can keep everything together. It's got a nut on one side, a bolt on the other. I don't know if that's normal. It might have been a stud that's missing. I really have no idea, because this is newer than what I'm used to. The last piece I'm taking off before I gotta go do that conference call. Just trying to squeeze some time in here. Get whatever I can off now. Got a little pinch bracket with 2 bolt holes on the top. I'll show you that in a minute. Alright, so front motor mount bracket, your bolts come up from the bottom, and then on the top of the frame, you have this guy. Bolt and a nut, those are going to go back down there for now. And now, other than these lower bolts and then the rear, we are pretty much free. So let me go do this internet thing, and then I'll come back when we're ready to rip the mounts out. Last little clip before it goes to time lapse, because the compressor's going on for some blasting. I gotta get this motor plate off. The same thing on the other side, I'll go around there in a second. And then we got 4 bolts on the rear that need to come out as well. So you got your upper 2 that go through the frame on this hardtail section, and then the lower 2 down below. Once those are out, the motor should be free to try and wrestle out of the frame. So we got these ones down here, and then, like I said, the matching plate on the other side. See how it goes. And that's it. All the front motor mounts are done, so now we're down to the last 4 in the back down here. This one's got a lock nut. On the other side, it goes through the back of the frame into the motor mount, the upper 2 of the motor mounts. Grab these before we lose them. Then same thing on the other side for the uppers. I'll do the bottoms last. Alright, then we just got the last 2 on the bottom. That'll do it. All the bolts are out, so we are ready to yank this out. I'm gonna have Justice do it because he's young. $10.53. Look at how happy he is. Motor's ready to go home. Not too bad. Just a matter of remembering which way it comes out of the bike. I started early, got the sporty motor out. That was the big part. I wanted to bring that home. I'm not doing that now just because my truck is filled with a bunch of crap and I gotta recycle all those tires from customer jobs that have been sitting around forever. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow, bring the truck back here again, and hopefully bringing this Sportster roller frame back to Justice's house because I don't need any of the stuff here anymore. Motor's out, motor's coming back to my house. I'll bring the motor back. Frame will go to his house, clear up some more space, and then maybe I'll throw the Honda on the lift because that, I think, is gonna be the next priority. So thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.